Yeah, the madness is already in full swing as evidenced. The top seed was victorious in just 11 of the 32 conference tournaments. Halfway through the bracket now, many conference champs still wondering where they'll be slotted and who they will play. And so back to the brackets now from the NCAA and its corporate champion, Capital One. We are in the Midwest region now, the lower right quadrant, where the Purdue Boilermakers are the third #1 seed. And, of course, this is Zach Edey's last ride. Just became Purdue's all-time leading scorer Saturday in the conference semifinal classic, won by Wisconsin. They will face the winner from Wednesday's matchup at the First Four in Dayton between Montana State, the Big Sky champs, and Grambling State making their first NCAA tournament.
Yeah, congratulations to the Tigers of Grambling State. And Deontay Jackson, their head coach, he's been knocking on the door and finally gets that ticket scanned.
SWAC champions. Congratulations to Grambling State. Now to Friday in Indianapolis, where we find the 8 seed Utah State, who in Danny Sprinkle's first season returning 0 points from last year's tournament team. They won the Mountain West regular season title, and they've got a guy named Great Osobor. Better watch out. The 8 seed against the 9 seed, and the 9 seed will be TCU, who tied a school record with 9 Big 12 wins this year, including a win over Houston.
That's going to be a tough matchup. TCU is fast and athletic.
Yeah.
They've got great guards. It's going to be a tough matchup for Utah State.
Now we have Thursday games here as well. In Salt Lake City, the 5 seed is Gonzaga. Maybe back in a Cinderella slot here as they embark against the 12 seed that nobody wants to face. Mark.
Hey, I mentioned there are 4 teams that have won 30 games in the country. They're one of them. They've won 30. JMU won 31. Houston won 30, and UConn has won 31. This team is legit. Shahade Wells is a stat sheet stuffing guard who can carry a team, but they defend, they're athletic, they're tenacious. That is going to be a hands-full matchup for the Zags.
30-3 after just 11 wins each of the previous 2 years. Will Wade's first season on the job there. The 4 seed in Salt Lake City, Kansas, an NCAA record 34th consecutive appearance, and they will face Samford, who is in for the first time since 2000. And get ready, Kansas, you're about to face Buckyball.
Buckyball, high octane, a lot of threes made. Achur. Remember that name, folks. Outstanding forward. This team is deep, plays a fast pace. That'll be a challenge for a kind of depleted Kansas team. They've been injured. Hunter Dickinson may be out, so that's going to be a handful.
And let's go to the bottom half now of the Midwest region. These are games in Pittsburgh on Thursday, starting with South Carolina, the 6 seed. After being picked to finish last in the SEC, they tied for 2nd. And it's their first tournament since 2017. Lamont Paris, the SEC Coach of the Year. And they will face the 11 seed who clinched it last night, the Oregon Ducks, winning the final Pac-12 tournament to get the automatic bid. The 3 seed in the Midwest region is Creighton, who tied a program record with 14 Big East wins, 3 players averaging 17 points or more for these guys.
Creighton's a dangerous team, too, and as a 3 seed, that's good because they avoid the 1 seed later in the tournament.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't meet them as early. Creighton can make a run here as a 3.
And they will face the 14 seed Akron after a wild ending in the Mid-American Conference Championship game. Akron is in what was heartbreak for Kent State. Now, first and second round games in Charlotte, North Carolina. On Thursday, Texas is the 7 seed behind Rodney Terry, and they will face another First Four winner on the 10 line between Virginia and Colorado State.
Not surprised to see Virginia in the First Four. I'll tell you what, the committee wasn't buying the whole Mountain West love. I don't know anybody who had Colorado State this low, not to mention I talked about Boise State the 10 and the regular season champ Utah State in 8. Interesting choices.
It sure is. But who's the 2 seed in Charlotte, North Carolina? Not too far from Knoxville. The Tennessee Volunteers, regular season champs in the SEC, led by Dalton Connect, who led the conference in scoring.
And the country's going to get to see Dalton Connect all again. And he's going to get to play on the big stage for the first time.
Right.
This is going to be big time for him and for all of us to be able to watch.
And you know who's back? As a 15 seed, St. Peter's. The darlings of the 2022 tournament are back with fresh feathers. As we move back to the top of this region here, Jay, what draws your attention?
One thing I have to say about Gonzaga, everybody was saying all year, what's wrong with Gonzaga? They're not going to make the tournament. They're a 5 seed. This is the 24th consecutive tournament they've been in. Only Michigan State and Kansas have made more consecutive tournament runs. That's incredible.
It really is. That's a remarkable feat by those programs.
And I got to tell you, that matchup, now what do they get rewarded? They get McNeese, your team, and Will Wade, who is a brutal first-round.
Yeah, I like McNeese in that game because of their speed and show. Hade Wells is a real problem at that backcourt spot.
Yeah, this is the part of the show where I light myself on fire. Because I've got McNeese over Gonzaga, and you ready? Samford takes down Kansas. You mentioned the injuries to Kansas. They were already not a deep team. Samford is an up-and-down team. They play 10 guys, and the game is in Salt Lake City, where altitude is a factor. We've got a potential matchup between Texas and Tennessee, where Rick Barnes, the Tennessee coach, used to coach. I think the dangerous team in this bracket is Creighton. They play at a slower tempo. I think they can get by Tennessee in the Sweet 16.
Tell you what, Oregon is interesting because they finally gotten healthy, and N'Faly Dante is a difference maker. Big guy who can protect the rim and is a great passer. They've got good shooting around. They could be. Dana Altman always seems to have his team moving in the right direction this time of year.
And Dante didn't miss a shot in the Pac-12.
That's right. He was perfect. Yeah.
Last night.